Hey everybody, this is Frame by Frame, and this is a little bit of a plug before the show starts. So, here you go. Are you ready? You can find us at iTunes Store by searching for us there, Frame by Frame, separate words, under the podcast category. Look for our logo and then subscribe. You can listen to our podcast directly with SoundCloud, which is at the SoundCloud website, frame-by-frame-2. You can bookmark the website where you can actually find all the above links at roastedportions.com. Follow us on Twitter at framebyframe78, all one word. And you could also go to framebyframe78 with the Facebook group and interact with us there on all our exciting little ponderings during the week when we're actually not podcasting. So please, check us out, subscribe, follow, bookmark, support, listen, and enjoy. This is Frame by Frame. On with the show.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
You talking to me?
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
Then who the hell else are you talking? You talking to me?
No, funny how? I mean, funny like a clown.
I'm Peter Binkman.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
Damn!
I'm kind of a big deal.
First rule of my club is, do not talk about my
Yeah, baby!
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
And the clock is running!
Oh, that's snappy one line.
Yeah, I don't think I had it last time. I think I missed it in the Love and Mercy.
Did you?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure I got
I was
there.
just overtaken by the beauty of Brian Wilson.
It was a one to remember, definitely. It was a milestone episode. Love that.
Yeah. About 80 listens to it, I think.
Are we? I have not checked the stats.
Or is it 40?
Is it 40, 80? Well, it's got a little bit of a curl in the number, I'm not sure. But hey, everybody, take a listen. Silence on a podcast, it's great.
Yeah. No children.
No children. And I feel quite chilled. I feel quite relaxed. I'm not going to be looking over my shoulder to see if...
85?
85? Where am I looking? Oh, down the bottom there. Woo! It's overtaking Insidious within 4 days.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's alright.
Yeah. Who out there is listening? Because we want to know. We want to know who's listening.
Why aren't you emailing us? framebyframe78@gmail.com.
Get on Twitter. Come on, tell us what you really think, what you feel, what you would like us to talk about next. You know, just throw little bits out there. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, feel us.
Yeah.
As for Facebook, nah. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I think we'll be talking about Mad Max, won't we?
It's long overdue, don't you think?
Yeah. We didn't want to jump on the bandwagon like everyone else is talking about Mad Max, so we thought we'd wait till no one's talking about Mad Max, and I thought we'll have a chat about Mad Max.
You see, a lot of the reviews that have come out are looking at Mad Max not from a nostalgia standpoint, which is the reason why Mad Max is out again. You know, it's a nostalgia film. But a lot of the people who reviewed it have no clue about what the originals were or what they actually meant.
Right.
So I've never been excited about a film, well, not for a long time,
right.
As much as I was with Mad Max coming out. And I've watched it a few times, and I really, really dig it. I really love it.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what it was going to be, and it didn't let me down.
My name is Max, a road warrior, searching for a righteous cause.
War boys! Return my treasures to me!
We're not going back. Come with us. What do you suppose he's gonna do?
Kill them! Mad Max Fury Road, May 15th.
It's staggering what they've achieved with it.
It's visual. It's a visual.
Yeah, it's.
There's nothing.
The stunts are incredible.
Yeah, I mean they really went the whole hog with this one. No, there's hardly any kind of CGI really. I mean, a lot of the
I've seen some of the sort of VFX shots there on YouTube, and it is like mainly just colour saturation. Maybe they put some fire in that wasn't there. that kind of thing.
There might have been an explosion where they had a close-up of a character that was done in pickups, maybe.
Yeah, but when you see a guy jump from one car to another car, a guy actually jump from one car to another car.
When you see guys strapped to the front fender of a car, playing electric guitars
with fire billowing out the top.
Wasn't that amazing? but that's it. I mean, it's I mean, the colour of it. I mean, we've got it. It's just this pure redness to it.
Yeah.
The hue of it was outstanding. I haven't seen that colour in film, to be fair. Even What Dreams May Come didn't quite get to that. So I mean, they could have done it really bleached out. They could have gone the White Sands direction.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They went really high contrast colour. But yeah, so
what's the concept of this film then?
Okay, the concept is that Max really hasn't changed. I mean, the idea of
still pretty
Mad
mad,
Max,
isn't
he? Yeah, well, he's not so much mad as internally pissed off, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knows the story of Mad Max. I mean, the start of every movie kind of has a bit of a voiceover from Max, just kind of explaining who he is and where he is and what's going on.
My name is Max. My world is fire and blood.
Oil wars. We are killing for gasoline.
The world is actually running out of water.
Now there's the water wars.
Once, I was a cop, a road warrior searching for a righteous cause.
The terminal freakout point. And has gone rogue, terrorizing us.
Thermonuclear skirmish.
The earth is sour.
Our bones are poisoned. We have become half-life.
As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy. Me or everyone else.
Yeah. A little bit of a preface, you know, just to kind of cover things. When it's a simple... The thing is, it's very simple. You know, he used to be a cop. Stuff went wrong. I mean, nothing's actually explained as to why everything's gone to shit. But the whole world is obviously just no longer running on any
dystopian future again.
It's a dystopian future. I think there was probably a war. I think I'm kind of guessing war because at the end of the third film they kind of pass over Sydney and it's just a ruin. But really, I mean, it starts off kind of like a normal, slightly post-apocalyptic. It didn't go that far with the first film. Everybody was still kind of having. There was still gas stations, there were still shops, there was still a life to be had.
Because I remember, it's a while since I've seen the originals, but I remember the first time I watched the very first Mad Max film thinking it shouldn't be called Mad Max, it should be called Mad Goose.
Mad Goose, because he was the crazy one.
He was the crazy one, and it was more about him, really.
We know who you are, Bronze.
We'll see you on the road, Skag! We'll see you on the road like we saw the Night Rider!
We remember the Night Rider! And we know who you are!
Yeah, and the revenge of his death, you know. But yeah, Goose was very strong. But then there is a duality in these films. It's like in the first film, it was about Goose. In the Fury Road, it was about Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Furiosa.
And
with a weird eye makeup.
Yeah, which was kind of, I suppose it's to kind of stop herself from burning from the heat. And it's one of those. And Thunderdome was all about Tina Turner.
Yeah.
In a way, and Master Blaster. And number two.
The best one of the original three.
I'd say it was probably the most interesting of them all. I mean, it had the feral kid in it, and he was incredible. That kid with his boomerang of death. I think the second one was more about Max than it was any other film. I think the other films kind of had a bit of he was kind of like observing another character going through what he did. And I think Mad Max, the first one, was, you know, obviously Goose dies and you know, he gets a little bit pissed off, but he really loses it when his wife and child get mowed down by Toecutter and his gang.
That would annoy you.
That would really put me on a bit of a spin.
Somewhere on the abandoned highways of tomorrow, where law is another word for vengeance.
I'm gonna blow him away.
It's bad in his blood!
justice is a forgotten memory.
We're 100% snafu.
And order lies shattered in the ruins of civilization.
I am a rocker! I am a rocker!
Somewhere up ahead, a hero is waiting.
Frozen at the speed of
Max. The crack interceptor for the main force patrol.
I am the Night Rider! I am the Night Rider!
Every life is on the line. And every turn in the road brings you face to face with a new kind of terror. Mad Max. Pray that he's out there. Somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, let's talk about the first of all, the Mel Gibson portrayal of Max. I mean,
okay.
This was kind of like Mel Gibson's first, starring role in a way. He'd done a couple of things before.
He'd done a lot of TV stuff, hadn't he?
He'd done a lot of TV movies, Australian, and his first film was actually with Steve Bisley, who played Goose in the film Summer City, and he had his first screen kiss in Summer City with Steve Bisley.
Yeah, it was a gay thing, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't a gay thing at all. It was actually a heterosexual smack on the lips for the sake of being fun and goofy.
Oh, was that right?
Yes, it was a. I think Goose was having a bit of a fondle in a car, and Mel Gibson comes up to the window and goes,
I got your bloody number!
Four guys set off on a wild bucks weekend out to make the most of everything and anything.
You're the little mark with all the lip, eh?
If it walks and talks, they'll be right into it. Chicks, booze, starring John Jarrett as Sandy, who thinks he knows exactly what he wants.
Boy, show me ladies like that, and I'll be glad to get married anytime.
Mel Gibson and Steve Bisley as Boo and Scallop. They know exactly what he's gonna get.
What a joke.
Phil Avalon as Robbie. All he wants is a good time.
Sure, mate.
but they go surfing and they have a bit of a heterosexual smack on the lips in the back of the car. That's it. So there you go. His first screen kiss was with Goose. But yeah, so back to Mad Max. And so the first film is pretty much a very basic plot. There's a gang that are out there causing havoc. All the police force can't handle it, so Max Ratatouille, I've forgotten his last name, goes chasing after them, and
the first name's Mad, the second name's Max.
Okay, Mad Max goes chasing after this gang, and it all turns nasty once the wife and child die, and then he just that's it. He's going to get them all, including the dude who started it all off, and there's that classic line at the end where he's chained to this car that's about to explode, and Mad Max hands him the hacksaw and says, "You've got two choices, mate."
The chain in those handcuffs is high tensile steel. It'll take you 10 minutes to hack through it with this. Now, if you're lucky, you can hack through your ankle in 5 minutes. Go.
You're mad, man. You think I look silly, don't you? Stop breathing on me, man.
And then in the background you just hear. You don't actually know what choice he made. And it's a great moment, and it kind of...
So which one was that?
That was the first. That was the very end. That was the last scene in the first movie, and it's just him driving off, and that's it. The end.
Does the second film pick up exactly where...
It doesn't. The second film basically picks up later on, where I think the second film is about gasoline.
This is what it has come to.
Look! Out there! They're coming back! Come on, move it!
Here is where it shall be decided.
There it is. Greetings from the Humongous.
In a world without gas.
The Humongous rules the wasteland.
I'm gravely disappointed that you wish to take the gasoline out of the wasteland.
Defend the fuel.
We'll never walk away.
Give me the pump, the gasoline, the whole compound.
This is a land that prays for a hero.
Well, if anyone's going to get in there, it's going to be you.
They all
Right.
wanted it, and they were kind of refining it, keeping it stored within these little gangs. But yeah, the second one was probably a good 10 years maybe. He got a bit of grey, a bit of hair, he got a dog, and he kind of like, he lives in his car.
Right.
And yeah, the whole... I think the apocalyptic side of things slid downhill up to the second film, where everybody suddenly became punk. Real neo-punk.
Right, okay.
And it's quite an interesting... the second one is, like I say, it's more Mad Max central.
Yeah. So what is the main plot of the second one?
Max.
It's a long time since I've seen driving like that, man.
The warrior of the road.
You're okay by me, pal.
Gotta hand it to you, Treasure. The last of the V8 interceptors.
Every day we get weaker while they get stronger.
You want to get out of here?
You talk to me. Now, to do the job, I need some high-octane gasoline.
Got yourself a deal.
You can run, but you can't hide!
You gonna crash or crash through?
I was wrong about you. I'm sorry.
When all that's left is one last chance. Pray that he's still out there. Somewhere. Mad Max 2.
Max finds himself in the stronghold of the opposing gang, who are kind of like the good people, and he kind of promises to help them by driving the truck, by driving the tanker, and doing stuff that pisses the other gang off. I have absolutely no idea what the second film's about.
Okay,
but I know.
Does that matter?
No, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter because you can just watch it. It's a spectacle, and the plot really doesn't matter. And for a person like me who actually really believes in story, plot, structure, design, for me to like these movies is kind of weird because it's very surface. But there you go. What can you say?
I think if a film's done well with conviction, I don't think it matters.
That's it.
You know what I mean? If like this new one, as far as I can tell, he's just trying to get away from a load of people.
Yeah.
And he ends up helping those women escape, don't he?
Yeah, he suddenly has a motivation to do something to help somebody else instead of helping himself.
Yeah. And
that's what Mad Max is about. I mean, he always starts off his films being, you know, I'm in it for myself. Why should I help you? But then there's always like this nagging thing in his mind that it's just, I've got to help somebody now.
There's a lot of talk with this new one about how pro-feminist it is, with Furiosa being such a strong female character.
Yeah, and I think that I had a context studies teacher back in the college days who would probably say that she had to grow a penis in order to be that kind of a character, that women can't just be strong without actually being having guns strapped to them or having that masculinity attached to them. And she argued that about Sigourney Weaver having a penis in Aliens, that she couldn't just be a woman, and I that drove me crazy.
Linda Hamilton in
Yeah, they had to suddenly take on the persona of a man, but I don't think that's true. I think you take on the persona of somebody who is focused.
And yeah, it's just...
And you know, so I argued with this contextual studies teacher a lot about all this crap that she came up with. But yeah,
I suppose with Furiosa, she's a strong woman.
Yeah,
there's no penis envy going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what she wants is them to stop off at a bathroom every so often, or look for feminine hygiene products, or maybe kind of
after a battle they all do have a pedicure and
they have to. But then that kind of brings in the sexism of saying, well, you can't do that but then. Basically they're pretty much desexed anyway. I mean, Max is no different to her.
Yeah.
In that sense, they're not looking at each other and going, you know. I mean, he's in a car, he's in a truck here full of women in this last film.
So the women he's saving though were the sort of wife to that bad guy.
The big bad guy
The big
who
bad
was
guy.
Joe, Immortal Joe.
Immortal Joe.
Who,
very Australian.
Immortal Joe. I'll tell you what, my accent's popping up every so often because when I'm thinking about Australia, when I'm thinking Australian,
You've always done
Australian
this.
cinema,
Yeah.
I kind of merge into it, and I've kind of become, it's kind of, it's just encompassing. It just it pulls me in. But yeah, incidentally, the guy who plays Immortal Joe is the same actor who played the Toecutter in the original movie, the big gang member.
Right.
And you can tell they kind of look alike.
Yeah.
It's the same actor. So kudos for him coming on board to do this movie because it kind of brings it back home. But yeah, so those women are the brides for this really creepy ghost-like character who is a leader of all these people. Believe it or not, that they actually rely on him for the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one's it's either about water or gasoline about this, and that's kind of the only two things that mean anything in this.
When
movie.
you're watching this film, you can almost smell the gasoline.
But that's why I love it. I think that's probably why I love it, because they really do make the effort to make you really have a sensory overload. Action films can't do that very often. They don't. I mean, even Con Air, didn't do that for me. For American kind of action, and that's kind of the nearest thing to a Mad Max film.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
Even though it was in the air.
The new Mission Impossible looks like it might be like that.
Yeah, a little bit more roguish.
It's called Rogue Nation, isn't it? But they go rogue. Everybody Mission Impossible, someone goes rogue, don't they?
Yeah, they have to.
But have you seen the trailer to it?
I have, and he's kind of clinging onto the side of the airplane.
He actually did that.
Wrong door.
Yeah, he actually did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
He actually did that.
So when obviously it'd be strapped on and safe.
Was
but
Travolta
he
flying?
Did that.
I'd like to think that Travolta was flying because he could then there would be that bond of trust between them. That Hubbard was been looking after them. Well,
I was reading an interview with Simon Pegg, and there's this scene where there's a part in it where there's this really great car chase, and apparently, like he said to the stuntman, like, "Are you not going to be doing this?" He went, "No one can drive like Tom," and Tom did the actual car chase.
But do you know what? Kudos to him. I mean, Tom Cruise, he gets a lot of flack because of Scientology and all that, and it always seems to come up, and that's the shame that I actually am a part of that, thing. But when you look at him,
he's an amazing guy. He's a good actor, and he gets in there, like when he's on in that Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
What's that? The highest building in the world? What's it called? In
Tokyo?
No, it's in Dubai.
No, in Dubai. Oh, yeah.
The big building thing. Well, they did that with all the fighting on the outside of it, and he actually did that.
This is what I like to see. I like to see the Harold Lloyd of today, and maybe he is the Harold Lloyd of today.
Jackie Chan's the Harold Lloyd of today.
Is he? Is he? Okay. Okay.
That's why I love Jackie Chan films so much, because when you see something mental happen, you think he did that.
He did that. Have Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan ever made a movie together?
No.
Maybe they should.
Do
you think one of them would die?
Probably.
It will be like, duel to the death.
Tom would do something, and then Jackie will have to do something better than that.
Yeah, they'll be upping each other.
When they did Police Story 3, Michelle Yeoh did this stunt where she jumped off on a motorbike. She actually did it herself. She jumped off the side of this thing and landed on top of a train. And Jackie saw it and thought, right, I'm going to have to pull out the bag now. So what he did is dangle from a helicopter without any straps or anything, and then went round Hong Kong, just holding onto the ladders of this helicopter.
Oh my god!
Just to go one further.
Just to go one further. Yeah. I like that. I mean, it's it's healthy. I think in film,
as long as it wasn't saying, "I'm not having a girl beat me."
That's something else.
I hope that.
No. I don't think he would. He's not like that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's not Bill Cosby.
But that's the thing, Cosby, don't get me started. But, so, do you think you have that level with Mad Max, the level of the actors? Because when you see him strapped to the front of that car, it looks like it's him.
Obviously a guy didn't go and hit a truck head on. We kind of made a chicken wire version of the Toecutter, put his helmet on, his uniform on, put the bike up on kind of stilts, broke up the bike, and kind of glued it together with gaffer tape and stuff like that. And then we had the truck. Now remember, we had such a low budget that the truck driver turned up with his truck, his rig, and he said, I can't smash into that. So we put a plate on the front of the truck, and if you look at it carefully, you can see at the last moment one of the art directors painted on the grille and the headlights. So you can see it's painted, but everyone in the movie's watching the Toecutter as he gets hit.
Right. There was a lot of injuries, a staggering amount of injuries. In fact, incidentally, Vic Morrow in the Twilight Zone was actually was chopped to death by the propellers as a helicopter fell out of the sky, killed him and the 2 children who were with him on the ground. Yeah, that was when he was
in the Twilight Zone.
In the Twilight Zone, the movie, when they were going from time frame to time frame. The reason why I mention this is that George Miller directed one of the other films in that collection of movies. I can't remember who directed that one. If it was Tobe Hooper. Or
I want to say Tobe Hooper. Does that have when there's 2 of them in the car? Is that right? And they say like, I could scare you or something.
Yes, that's the one.
And then he turns his face when he turns around. He's like,
it's Dan Aykroyd and it's
Dan
Albert
Aykroyd.
Brooks.
That was it.
Albert Brooks as well. But then you got like 4 different stories, I think.
Yeah.
But George Miller directed John Lithgow, something at 20,000 feet. Terror at 20,000 feet or something like that.
Right, okay.
It's the monkey on the wing of the plane story. So he directed that one. And I think Tobe Hooper directed the one with Vic Morrow where he's going through different time zones. And in this one, this was the Vietnam sequence, which was actually cut out of the movie completely because Vic Morrow died. So they ended up having to tie the story up a bit. So,
okay.
So yeah, I mean, people do die doing stunts, and people do die not doing stunts, being a victim of a stunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can imagine that this film probably had a lot more control because they had a lot of money as well to kind of make sure that the safety precautions were in place. The first 2 films, they didn't have so much safety, and they just had really, really, really good people doing the work.
Yeah.
Well, the tanker roll, that was the climax of the movie, and I was worried about the stunt. I'm always worried about hurting somebody. And Dennis Williams, who was a truck driver and also driving the truck, he said, well, I've actually done it in real life. I have rolled a truck in many years on the road. And he did it. And when I saw it and it landed in front of our cameras, I was really, really, really happy. And if you look at the movie too, there's a moment when the door gets ripped off. If you look, you'll see Dennis, the truck driver, there between his legs because the gears were getting stuck. That's the guy who rolled the truck.
And that's what I admire. I think it's, you've got to admire being able to make a film as brave as this, to not Hollywoodize it, to keep it Australiana. I mean, Australian cinema, I mean, it's for what it is. Mad Max is the one thing that kind of projected it forward. Mad Max really put Australia on the map for a place to make films. It gave it a unique look and a feel and a unique accent that everybody kind of was fascinated with, and I think it just projected it.
Yeah, because really, there's not a great output of Australian cinema.
Well, Australian cinema, in historical, when you look at it historically, it was actually making movies. Full feature-length movies, silent movies, before Hollywood, which is quite astonishing. They were actually doing the features before Hollywood actually jumped on board. Then Hollywood became big, it became this thing, and then everybody in Australia started to just keep buying over because they were cheaper to buy, and they kind of weren't making so much. The majority of the Australian films up until America took over with Hollywood were kind of pioneer films about the James Cook. The pioneers of Australia, and everybody was kind of like watching that, and they got a bit bored because Hollywood started to bring out these glamorous huge spectacles that were fascinating. So then Australian cinemas tried to kind of do that, and throughout the 20s and 30s 40s they were trying to emulate Hollywood. But then of course when World War II came along, they stopped making movies completely.
Unlike Hollywood, Cine Sound stopped making feature films until the war was over.
With Aussie soldiers overseas and the battle to keep spirits up at home, City Sound put all their movie-making money into making newsreels.
And so what Australia does is it kind of doesn't have like this line of making movies and then a bit of a drop. Literally, it's just okay, stop making movies completely. And then the same thing happened when television came out in the 50s. Every Australian said, forget the cinema. It's TV now, we can watch this at home.
Of course, during the 1950s, Australian films virtually disappeared. Movie houses went broke across the country as audiences headed home to watch the box. The collapse was so complete, many Australians forgot that we'd ever made films.
Cinema literally just stopped until the 70s.
Because I listened to a podcast called The Weekly Planet, and they're from Australia, and they openly admit that most Australian movies are rubbish.
But it's because they just haven't had a chance to...
like they said when they were growing up, it was mainly British TV they watched, like Red Dwarf and The Bill and things like that, you know.
That's it. Like I say, but I mean, from the 50s until 1974, I think, around about that time, where they literally just weren't making hardly any movies. People weren't watching Australian movies, they were watching television. And it picked up in the 70s, and that, of course, the difference between our film industry and American film industry and the Australian film industry is that pure... And I look at that.
That's just incredible.
Staggering stuff. Is that Australian films are all funded by the government. Literally, they pull all their funding from government film funding associations.
Right.
None of it. They don't have studio. They don't have the studio set up. Any studio in Australia is American funded.
Right.
USA. It's all it's like Fox Studios Sydney. That's California. That's their money. That's their business. But Australian films, purely Australian films, are all funded by the government. And, I think they're trying to change that now, but... Well, that's basically the
history of Australian cinema.
Yeah.
Condensed into 5 minutes.
In a nutshell. But to actually see that and understand it, you kind of get to understand where Australian cinema is and why it focuses so much on the outback. Why all of their most successful films are about the outback.
I once watched an Australian film. It was like the Australian Goonies, I think. I tried to pen it as that. All I remember is something called Donkey Gin.
Donkey Gin. I don't recall.
It was about someone. If you swim in this certain lake, you die, right? And
I want to watch this already.
I just remember it being really good. It was like this folklore against this like reservoir, and I just remember that like. At the end of it, it ended up just being like an old sort of truck or something that was under there, and when it sort of came up and went back down, everyone thought it was like a monster.
This is fascinating.
Just trying to find out what it is.
Dirkie is a film about a kid that flies with his uncle and the plane crashes, and the uncle dies, and the kid literally has to survive and find his way across the outback on his own. Which is like Walkabout, which is where you got two children walking across the outback and picking up a friend who's an Aborigine of the boy who was actually on Walkabout. And those films just fascinate me. I mean, the thing is, the storylines are impressive. It's just somebody wants to get from A to B to C. That's all they are, these road movies, like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah, which is just a very good film.
A great film, but it's another road movie. It's about characters wanting to get from A to B.
I suppose with the places that massive, and then but there's very little population. I suppose, it makes sense.
An Australian movie that's just based in Melbourne is not a very interesting movie because people want to see them go somewhere because it's such a huge place and it's a fascinating place. So yeah, a lot of it is based on that kind of on the idea of journeys, and I think that probably why cinema in Australia kind of fascinates me a little bit because of that.
Oh, I think I found it.
I think he's found it. You see, we actually managed to talk through a moment where we're actually searching for a film title.
The Quest.
Cody is an adventurer about to discover the secret of frog dreaming.
Gotcha. What do you know about a pond 5 miles east of Devil's Knob?
to promise me you'll stay away from that pond.
Do you believe in monsters?
Some for 20 years. I was married to one.
I think that could be it, yeah.
It's got Henry Thomas from E.T.
Yeah.
That's
Frog Dreaming. That's another title for it.
And then you've got The Quest with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
And Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Yeah, Van Damme, Roger Moore. They don't even have to have his full name, do they? And then you've got The Quest, 5 friends, 4 days, 3 nights, 2 women.
Okay.
With a sexy lady on the front. It's the in the tradition of American Pie, The Quest. So yeah, but we'll see if we can find that Australian one, and maybe we'll have another, because I think Australian films are worth talking about, definitely. So yeah, back to Mad Max.
We could talk about Mary Poppins as well, because Dick Van Dyke's English accent is Australian, isn't it?
I was curious too. In that movie, you do a British accent in that movie, and I realized that I borrowed your. Whenever anybody comes on the show who's from the United Kingdom. And it could be anybody. It could be Dame Judi Dench. It could be Hugh Laurie. I say, "Hello, Governor, how are you?" And they get so mad at me. And I said, "I learned that from Dick Van Dyke."
Oh my God! If somebody from the UK sees me, they're on me like a pack of wolves. I mean, it was the worst Cockney accent ever done. But the guy who taught me was an Irishman, Pat O'Malley. So now I made up a story. I said it wasn't Cockney. It's from a little obscure county in the north of England. A few Cockneys moved up there, in the 1800s. And you probably would never hear it again.
So you were completely lying to people. So really, the British get angry when they see you. Do you ever give it to them right in there? That's what I've done so many times, right in their face. I go like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Sweep your chimney for you, I will.
Yeah, he's
Good eye, Mary Poppins.
Good eye, Mary Poppins. What are we doing today, man? Come on, let's go wash some pots.
Yeah,
and if you can wring your little your cloth out, a little bit of a root. Come on, Mary. Come on, give it to me, baby. Come on, Mary.
Mad Max is. You started spitting.
I thought that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. It's because we've got no kids here. I feel like I can be free.
Liberated.
So yeah, Mad Max is. Yeah, to be honest, there's really not too much you can really say beyond it being such a spectacle, a fun film.
It's incredible what they've achieved through it, and how Mark Miller's in his 70s now, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, he hasn't stopped working.
Yeah.
No. What do you think of Tom Hardy as Max? Ratatouille.
I thought he was okay. Yeah, he was good. I'm not sure about the Australian accent.
I don't know. He didn't really use it that much, luckily. No. But I think his look is very. I mean, he doesn't look Tom Hardy-ish. Tom Hardy is kind of a bit of more of a pretty boy, kind of a pursy lip kind of a face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably one of his better roles.
He's sort of in everything at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
come down with the Chris Pratt syndrome of people like him, let's put him in everything.
Yeah, I think Tom Hardy is being overused, but maybe that's just the way Hollywood is at the moment. They did it with see, the thing is, there's a fear of being forgotten about.
Yeah.
And I think they want to just kind of keep him in our memory as much as possible. But I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, no, it's a remarkable film.
This is his thing. I think this is more his thing than doing romantic comedies or anything like that.
Yeah, he's more suited to this, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mel Gibson was also really good at reaching out to him and going to the premiere. They went to the premiere and they kind of like just had a good chat and they talked about it. I think there was more of a passing of the torch. They always have to do that. I think it's nice that he did that. And
so, where do you see Mel Gibson's future?
This is interesting.
Let's talk about a bit about the reactionary bigot Mel Gibson.
He's had it slammed hard over the last 10 years, and I think that his supporters, the people who actually stay behind him, Robert Downey Jr. is always behind him because Mel Gibson saved his career, saved him from becoming obscure in Hollywood, and actually pulled him out of the. And I think Robert Downey Jr. tried to do the same for him. Jodie Foster is a huge advocate of Mel Gibson.
He's a talented guy.
He is.
You know what I mean?
You've had a chat with him, right?
Well, sort of. It wasn't really a chat. It was
Skype call.
It was very strange. A friend of mine was helping his friend, who was developing this technology that was to go with Blu-ray discs. So, say if you're watching something, can you see something? It's product placement gone mad. On an ethical level, I didn't like it. But say you're watching a Bond film and he's got the latest thing, you can click on it and all of a sudden it'll come up where you can buy it. You know, it's linked to the internet, so you're watching a Blu-ray disc, but you click on something, it'll come up where you can buy it. You can buy it on eBay for this, and it was the technology developed for that.
Yeah.
And Mel Gibson's company was interested in it.
Icon are interested in developing that.
Yeah, so I was upstairs because my friend's a drum teacher, so we were in his room, and he just had we were talking to him, and I was talking about movies and saying, "Oh, this technology is like that's amazing," but in fact, I remember saying to him, "It's a bit." You know, we're always moaning about product placement in films. This is like taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we were talking, the laptop went boo, boo, you know what I mean? And he was, "Oh, sorry, I'll just get this." He clicked on it. Fucking Mel Gibson. And me and Andy just went.
You just shut up, don't you?
Yeah. And he was like, "Hi, Mel. I wasn't expecting a call from you," kind of thing. And we're like, and he's like, "Oh yeah. Hi guys. And we're like, hello, Mel Gibson on the laptop there." And and then Andy's like, and then Andy's mate just sort of like, we should, you know, can you leave us to have a private conversation? Yeah, okay, bye, Mel Gibson. Thanks for calling, Mel Gibson.
You didn't say that, did you?
Yeah, I said bye, Mel Gibson, and then just walked out of the room.
Fuck! No, you didn't say that.
I did.
Oh my god!
Bye, Mel Gibson.
Bye, Mel Gibson.
Walked out.
You were lost it, man. You'd lost it
because you were such a left turn of the traffic light. So I wasn't expecting.
You wouldn't. I know. I mean, what would you do? I mean, I would. I don't know. It's a freaky thing, but I mean, he does have a power. There is an enigma about him. I mean, but the idea. I mean, is he into Hollywood for making films? Or is he into just making money? I mean, is that really? I mean, does he have a love of film? But obviously, with this venture for Icon, he's got more of, you know, he's got to think business and trying to think of, you know, how to keep things going. Is this a means to an end for making good films?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the last film I've seen him in was one of the Expendables film, the last of the Expendables film, which actually he's really good in it. He plays a menacing dirtbag really well.
Yeah.
I think he's a good actor, and he's a talented filmmaker. For all its faults, Braveheart's technically good.
Yeah.
You know, The Passion of the Christ, for all its faults, is technically good.
Apocalypto.
I actually really enjoyed Apocalypto.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good film.
Different. It's basically he was not afraid in that era, since Braveheart until everything kind of went downhill for him. He was not about to make a Hollywood film. Anymore. He wanted to make a film that was risky.
Yeah, art house film.
He took risks.
Absolutely.
And that you got to admire. You got to admire
Passion of Christ being like a 2-hour torture scene.
Jeez, I couldn't watch it. I'm not very good with torture myself anyway.
I prefer not to have it.
I prefer to avoid it when necessary.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like a unique survival plan I worked out for myself. Don't get tortured. Live longer.
That's it. But I think I can't watch Saw films because I don't see the point in watching them. To me, that's torture porn.
It is.
And I'm not really.
I didn't mind
that.
the first Saw film.
Yeah.
But it just got too much.
Torture porn, and it's not really cinematic. It's not filmic. I mean, what's next? Do you actually go to a place and watch people?
Do it, yeah.
But actually do it with prosthetic limbs. They have to be limbless in order to kind of like, then they come in and then they just chop the legs off.
Yeah, again, it's shock.
You can really just go shock
for
crazy.
Yeah, for shock's sake, as opposed to having any kind of like. There's a reasoning here, you know. It's not like Prisoners, the Hugh Jackman film, where he's torturing a guy because he's convinced that's the person who took his kid, and it hasn't. It's not the same person who's tortured him. And it's a normal guy pushed to the limit because he's lost his kid.
Yeah.
That then you can sort of see, right, you can see him losing it and why you do that.
Yes.
But not just stick. You know, there's some crazy guy who sticks people into torture devices and
which is basically the sequel to Shades of Grey, isn't it?
But there's this one. I remember seeing one where he's like, all his limbs are in these like metal cages, and then they just start twisting like that.
Yeah.
And then his bones start cracking out, and it's like,
yeah. To be honest, I mean, no, I mean it's not.
I've been an advocate of not having bones popping out of anything since watching The Fly. You know, the arm wrestling bit when he just cracked the bone out of it.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought I'm done. I don't need to see that anymore.
When I saw them, when they pulled John Savage. Is it John Savage? I think they pulled out of the water in Deer Hunter, and he had his bone contusion. Anything like that, I'm squeamish about. I mean,
The Descent. Have you seen The Descent?
I'm not too sure if I remember it because
That's an amazing film. But she falls down that cavern and she's bones popping out of the leg, and they have to pop it back in, and then oh my god!
Yeah, but anything like that, and still, like 27 hours. Is it 27 hours or 37 minutes?
Oh
he has to chop his own arm off.
James Franco
because that became the film's main marketing thing. You know, do you want to see somebody cutting his arm off? Yes, let's go watch this movie.
But I guess with that, it's a survival film because it's a real guy. It actually happened.
Yeah, and it actually did happen.
And the thing with that, he was in a lot of pain getting through. Is when he had to snap the tendon. That's when it didn't look like fun. Did not look like fun.
But that becomes the only focusing point of a film, and I think that's kind of not the way to go. I mean, the idea is a film about his survival. Don't make it just about that scene. We're going to wait for that scene to happen because that's what all those. It's like Basic Instinct.
Yeah,
it's that one scene.
Building up to the beaver.
Building up to the beaver, and we don't need to build up to any beavers. I mean,
it don't work on many levels because beavers build dams. Not dams, dams.
I don't know where he's going with this.
I don't know where I'm going with it either.
Carry on. I'm intrigued.
No, I'm just saying that it works on many levels because a beaver builds dams, and you can build up to a beaver.
Yeah, because there's bound to be a beaver on the top who's taking the stuff from the bottom.
Yeah.
Building up to the beaver.
Building up to the beaver.
Have we made a new expression now?
Yeah.
So,
can that be my line? Building up to the beaver. Yeah. You've got, what's yours?
The clock is running.
Building up to the beaver.
Oh, I love it.
0.5%.
So Mad Max.
Yeah. When did they build up to the beaver in this? So essentially, right, it is just a 2-hour-long chase.
It's a 2-hour chase, but it's a journey, and I like that. But the thing is, they have to go back. I mean, that's the beauty of this film, is that once they've done Fury Road, they get to the end and they realise there's nothing there to be had.
Yeah.
So then Max goes up to Charlize and says, you know what? You know where you need to go. We need to go right back to where we came from and take over the Citadel.
And that's going to be the next film.
And then that's what they did. They got back and they haven't taken it over, but they kind of arrived. They arrived back there, but
they're making another film, aren't they?
I hope so.
No, they are. It's been greenlit, and George Miller is doing it, or Mark Millar.
I'm more excited about this than I am superhero films, and this is just as surface as they are in a way. But because it's not complicated, they haven't convoluted it with too many plot lines, too many side things. It is what it is. It's basic story, and you're just there with them, and that's all that matters to me, I think, when you're making a film like that.
I suppose so. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm into the whole mythos of,
and that's probably what it is. What you want to explore that world, and
I love it. I love like this film is referencing this, and that film's referencing something that's going to happen in 2 years, and all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think we're beginning to see the end of this. Because Ant-Man, even though it was like number one, it's probably the smallest opening for a Marvel film.
Yeah, apparently the second smallest in America. But what other reviewers have actually said is that regardless of how bad it does in the US, it's about Europe and the rest of the world.
Yeah, and Asia.
And that's the reason why it's so successful, because there's so many people out there who will watch it, rewatch it, and love it. And they're not necessarily as critical about film. The masses aren't really critical. They just want to go and have a goof off and watch a film and be entertained. So yeah, the reason why people haven't gone to see Ant-Man in America is because it's not the main feature. It's not Pink Floyd. You know, it's like going to see
the Australian Pink Floyd. I'm bringing it back to Australia. See what I'm doing?
Was there an Australian Pink Floyd?
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Are they? Oh.
Yeah, amazing.
Wow.
So if you can't see Pink Floyd because they'll never tour again,
you can just see Pink Floyd.
Just watch the Australian Pink Floyd.
Is that actually a guy called Floyd who's into?
No, it's just the Australian Pink Floyd. That's it. And they have like the massive light show and big screens and stuff, and it's an event.
But we love Australia. We love Australian films, and I think that I think I'm definitely giving Mad Max Fury Road a pass. I could have given it a pass before I even watched it, and that's
I'm going to give it a merit. So I've gone better than you.
Oh yeah.
You've just passed it, but I give it a merit.
Okay.
Distinction.
Fair enough. I mean, we
no, I think it looks amazing.
We covered the sexuality, the gender thing. We covered the action, the script.
That's the thing about it, isn't it? When you're watching it, it's actual people actually doing stuff. Very little CGI.
Yeah.
And that's what I love in a film.
Yeah. What did you think? I mean, even the powdered guy who was actually part of that collective gang, the guy who gets dragged along for the ride.
Yeah.
Even he has a story arc.
Yeah,
and he's interesting enough to kind of, he is interesting enough to kind of be interested in, and interesting.
Yeah, interestingly interesting.
And he's, he actually does things in here. He doesn't just blend in with the background and speak whenever he's been told to speak. Just then he's been given a boot, and he's just they keep him constant in the story. They're not just standing around doing nothing.
Interestingly, that's Beast out of X-Men.
Beast out of X-Men. Really?
Yeah, was it something Holt, his name?
Joseph Holt?
I can't remember his name now.
I don't know.
Something Holt.
I don't know why I got
he was
Holt.
in what's the film with
he makes beer.
with Hugh Grant when he's a bit of a knob.
Oh,
that doesn't really narrow it down, does it?
About a Boy.
About a Boy, it's him.
Yeah.
About a Boy.
The kid?
Yeah, that's him.
That's the kid?
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's interesting. There you go.
Yeah.
I think we'll end on that factoid.
Okay. Right, no, yeah, love it. Great film.
Decent.
More.
Good
One
job.
more. Keep going. Building up to the beaver.
So we're going to end on the beaver?
I don't know.
We start on the clock is running, we end on the beaver?
Okay, but I suppose the life begins at the beaver, doesn't it?
Mary.
Building up to the beaver. The beaver. The beaver. The beaver.
We all need that moment in our lives where we are reminded about who we are and what we are about. It can come to you as a taste, a feeling, but rarely does it become a place so tangible that it is life-changing. A place where the deadlines are made by the seasons and order thrives in the vastness of biodiversity. That place is Australia. Australia is a land where the urban culture is put in its place against a fortified landscape of beauty beyond comparison. A place that provides lessons within an unforgiving terrain. Desert, rocks, forest and coral, these are the custodians of a frontier that is crafted by evolution to an immense scale. The land is shaped impressively, as if still freshly touched by the stars that once created them. Visit Australia and see the many creatures that go their own way and yet live in harmony with each other as they encourage and influence the wisdom of Australia's people. Where else can life teach you about the challenge and reward, about trust, strength, and the willingness to adapt and overcome? Find balance. Find yourself. Discover the ultimate destination. Australia.